Greek period. In the Greek period, we have to understand where the great philosophies come from. We have to understand where the knowledge come from. The Greeks were responsible to get this knowledge. It passed along of every part of Europe. The Greeks were responsible for the great temples, for the gods, the creation of the human race, the creation of the gods. The Greeks were responsible for philosophy, mathematics, physics, astronomy, the cosmos, ideas. The Greeks were responsible for to gather this information when we call the great librarians. The mystery, how they couldn't get this knowledge. It passed along the people when they opened their schools. Like we have names like Plato, we have names like Aristotle, and others were responsible for to search this knowledge and to gather this knowledge. It showed the people the difference that when we talk about the Greek period, we have to understand Aristotle. Who was Aristotle? Who was Plato? How Aristotle got his information? Aristotle was more than a philosopher. Aristotle was more than just mathematics. Aristotle could understand how the difference between the mind, idea, and a conception. Aristotle and Plato, they was together to help us to understand how they, for example, right, civic engineers, they separate between civic engineers and architecture. The difference between hydraulic system and mechanic. Difference between speed and velocity. Difference between knowledge and the mind. To gather this information, right, they start to create like systems, like what we can call like computers to better understand. So to gather this information that they will be able to write in the Greek, to pass this information, teach this information, and when the receiver get this information, he understand, he employ this information the way we today could gather that for different areas. So Aristotle and Plato, he was responsible we can call for creation the librarians. Inside of these librarians we have great computers, great men who was able to memorize this information, to separate this information, it passed to the others. Like all the system we use today, like the internet. Plato and Aristotle, they was able to work for different materials, right, in different areas. For example, like to understand the stars, right, like astronomy. So they get the astronomy, understand astronomy, they're going to bet they could get this and separate the one way for us going to help us to understand like agronomy and how the waves of the oceans work where the ships couldn't travel long distances. With this time, the Greeks help us to understand how the temples was made, the force of the pillars, the magic of the gods, of the knowledge, the better, for example, right, better tools to build things, to make things, the physics of the human body. Because in that period of the time we have a great sports, the Games Olympics came. To share with this knowledge, they put in the papers all the information they could understand like for example, the mechanic. The mechanic was one of those areas, right, where was a great evolution in that time, the hydraulics. So the mechanics, they put that they study mathematicians, and they form this knowledge, they share of this knowledge, they gather this knowledge. So when we gather something, we put that, that's what we call information. These archives, we can call them memories. Inside of these memories, we'll be able to translate in the form where inside in our computer today to become more easy. Without this information, couldn't have a computer, couldn't have a librarians, couldn't we have, like for example, the construction? No. We needed these information. We needed how to transform these information, right, in the systems that we know be better for us. We needed these information, right, to make it the correct way to fix things. This man was responsible, right, to help us to understand what is the better and good to understand about a computer. Without a computer, right, in that time, which they didn't have, it's gonna be much more hard because they needed more and more people. So what they did, they create the great academies. Inside of these academies, they have a lot of different people to share different knowledge in different areas. Not just the areas where Plato and Aristotle were responsible to make, to help us to build the Greek in that time. We have different names. We have knowledge from different people, come from different areas, of not just from the Greeks, but probably some researchers believe that they came from Rome, Italy. They came from Macedonia. They come from the Persians to share in the gathering, right? In the areas like, for example, the politicus, the goal was create the democracy. Without these librarians, it was hard. It is hard. So they was able to translate and pass the information, right? And I say it again, without this librarian, we need they was working like a computers, big, massive. Imagine that 10,000 men, 5,000 men, every month, every year, to gather these informations and pass this information fast, to build the nation, which, and at that time, the Greek was looking at one big nation. The nation of the knowledge, the great man, the nation of the gods. So in these librarians, right, in different areas, we have like a memory hand, which you can see inside of a computer. Man's responsible for the memory. Man's responsible for to pass this information. Like all we know today is like in the internet. Man to cryptology this information in different language to translate that. So whatever we can do today in seconds, they did over there in months. Of course, it was a little bit hard because the human being, they didn't have this technology we have today, but they did pretty good. They did their job. They expanded. They did something that today that we do in seconds, but they did in that period of time with the group of men inside of these academies. They expand the Greek philosophy around the globe, which they was able to understand much better.